to this video we're going to see on the freeway. And one of the most, I shouldn't say one of the most, a call that will wave red flags or raise red flags with a CHP officer, especially when you get multiple calls, 911 or just citizens calling in non-emergency. Hey, there's this guy on the freeway. He's walking erratically. He's on the right shoulder. He's in and out of lanes. This always raises red flags because your first thought is and should be, what non-deranged or emotionally disturbed person is walking on the freeway unless their car's broken down, they're trying to get to a call box back then, that's how old I am, or they're trying to get off the freeway or something like this. So it should raise red flags, and we're going to see this is actually something similar. This is an Ohio State trooper, and he's responding to a call of a pedestrian on the freeway. And with that, Anthony, I'll let you go ahead and play that one up from 0 to 3 minutes. We'll play just the first 3 minutes of it.
I'll be out, and it's a white male, blue shirt, gray pants. Yes, sir.
This man there is going to get hurt. He flipped his car here a minute ago.
All right, I'll get him. Disregard, I was a truck driver. It's I think it's a black male with a pink shirt. Come on, buddy.
Step away.
Come on,
You a devil.
What's going on, man? What's going on?
In the name of Jesus, watch out. In the name of Jesus, watch out. Watch out. You're going to get hurt. In the name of Jesus, stop, bitch.
Hey,
Lord, bow down. Jesus, Lord, bow down. Don't touch me, you're going to die. Next time you touch me, you're going to die. Next time you touch me, you're going to die.
Turn around. Put your hands behind your back. 5-10, Clayton. Send me another unit. He's on foot, going down the berm. Hey, you gotta go down.
That's Jesus, bitch. That's Jesus, bitch.
Yes. Oh, get down on the ground.
Jesus. Okay, let's see. Come on. Listen how strong Jesus is. Go ahead. Listen.
Get down on the ground now.
Lay down. I'm strong, baby. I'm a Jesus woman. I'm a Jesus. Oh, my Jesus woman, that's behind me. Listen, we playing tonight. So listen. Yes, hey, bro. Hey, get him.
Let him have that shit, dog. Hey, dog, let him have that shit, bro.
You right, dog. You stop it.
Come on, bro. I don't want to see him. Shoot you, bro. Come on, bro. You got it. Real shit, my nigga. Real shit, dog. Please don't shoot him. I got him. Come on, bro. Come on, man. Come on, dog. I don't want to see him, bro. You got it. Come on, dog. Please, bro. Please, bro. Please, dog. Come on, bro. And then you start the car.
My name is Pennsylvania. So, just to clarify, in case anything's fuzzy there, what we're seeing right now is a suspect obviously had overpowered the trooper and has now stolen the trooper's patrol car. And this happens, more often than people realize, with physical fights and a patrol car stolen. This happens across the country, again, more often than people realize. It happened a number of times when I was in the job with the Ohio Patrol. My point being this is that this indicates the level of whatever the reason, whether it's an emotional crisis, it is someone that's not on medication they're supposed to be on, whether they're on a controlled substance that they shouldn't be on. these situations, we're talking about hand-to-hand combat. And if you have never been in hand-to-hand combat with your life at stake, you simply cannot appreciate the stress this officer is under. So I'm going to leave it at that and let you take it from there.
Right. Well, right off the get-go, that if you'll forgive my language, but the pucker factor that's evident was intense for me. The officer makes his initial contact with the subject, and we've got semi-tractor trailers flying by very close, so that's an introduction to the threat level for the officer's safety. And then the fact that he had to position himself right at that overpass. As it evolves, the suspect keeps coming at him constantly. The officer's just trying to control it, telling him to put his hands behind his back. But at one point, the officer's almost with his back up against the concrete revetment that's part of the bridge. And my fear right then was that he was going to be knocked over with fatal consequences onto the ground below. As it progresses, obviously, there's, like you referred to it, hand-to-hand combat. The officer's trying to control the situation, even to the point of he had his taser out when the suspect came running back at him. He hadn't gotten back into his car. He was trying to mitigate the danger. He's asking for a backup. He's letting the suspect run off rather than chase after him. So in my mind, he's trying to de-escalate to some degree, but the suspect's chosen to escalate it by coming back. And I recognize that his thought processes are not normal. He's obviously mental or drugs or a combination of the both. And then that progresses to where the officer, again, is just, you can hear the force of the blows, yes, primarily from the suspect impacting on the officer. His mindset's got to be, I'm fighting for my life. He's lost the taser. You can see it on the ground at one point. And then there's the progression where they're both on the ground. And from my read of it, the suspect's on top of the officer. And you hear the officer at one point saying, please don't. And again, my fear heightened because in my mind, I thought perhaps the suspect was going for the officer's gun, which is a very real scenario. And that threat developed by the suspect is so significant that had the officer had the awareness that the suspect was going for his gun, I would not have been surprised if he had used lethal force against the suspect who was on top of him, pummeling him, doing whatever. We don't know for sure, but that's one reasonable progression that could have taken place.
There's a point there that you can hear a third person, a citizen shows up and is talking to the suspect. Hey, bro, mm-hmm. I don't want to see you get shot. So he's actually trying to help the officer, and the suspect, again, it's out of frame, so we don't know exactly what happened, yes, but he certainly was able to overcome even the assistance from the citizen. I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, absolutely. God bless the citizen for coming to try to help a trooper in trouble. That's a mixed bag, and in a sense, because we don't want the citizen to be hurt, and conceivably that could have progressed that way. But again, thank him for intervening to try to help the trooper at that critical moment. And it may have led to the suspect, we don't know for sure, but it may have led to the suspect stopping his assault and choosing to get into the car, the police unit.
That's a good point. That may be the reason that the suspect decided to flee instead of, in other words, just ending up even worse for the trooper. Going back to that point about the hand-to-hand combat and this officer saying, please don't. And again, we don't know exactly what was going on, but I agree with you. There's a strong possibility that the suspect was going for the officer's weapon. Who knows? He may have had his hands around his throat. We don't know exactly, but obviously the officer is in fear for his life. Again, this is a situation where the stat will show that this suspect is unarmed, but I'm sure like myself, RK, you have dealt with people that are, we'll use the obvious one, PCP, and it's like they're 5 Arnold Schwarzeneggers at his prime, and they
Yes.
might be 180 pounds or 150 pounds, and you cannot believe there's 7 of us and we still can't get them in handcuffs. People, again, unless you've been in that situation, it's very difficult to conceive of how strong and dangerous a person, certainly on certain substances, but sometimes even just with emotional problems. In other words, how immune they are from pain. They're not even aware of the danger they're putting themselves in. So there's a disconnect, either emotionally or physically, from reality, or both. I was told this in the academy, 35 years ago, and my PT instructors, my PMA instructors try to tell me, hey, it's going to happen. You're going to be in a fight with, this kind of person. Okay, I'm sure, or whatever. And then when it happens, it's like you never even heard of it before, because it's so detached from anything you've experienced in your life. My point to that long address there is, or question, I guess, is at what point, again, this is kind of an open-ended question, but at what point does an unarmed assailant put himself in a position where an officer can use lethal force? Not an easy question to answer, but it's one I want to pose for the audience right now, because clearly this could have ended in the death of the state trooper.
To me, the quote unquote unarmed argument is sometimes not reflective of the true facts. If the suspect in this case is on top of the officer's fighting for his life, and the suspect is doing things, he could choke him, as you pointed out. That's a lethal act. He could do other things, including what we alluded to as far as him trying to take the gun from the officer. But you look beyond that, this looks like a tenured, well-equipped state trooper. He has other items that could be stripped from his body and used against him, not just the handgun. And a lot of folks don't recognize that. I suspect he probably was carrying some kind of knife for utility purposes. He probably had perhaps an asp baton or other type of impact weapon. Certainly had his handcuffs. I've seen handcuffs used as a weapon. So the officer has all these on him that are now within easy access for the suspect. And then when the suspect gets into that police unit, in my opinion, he has armed himself by taking control of the car itself. That's a deadly weapon. It's been recognized as such. And then by extension, it's not too hard to look at the contents of the vehicle. Is there a shotgun or a M4 rifle inside? That's certainly a heightened concern for officers, and whatever else that trooper might have with him in the car that the suspect could find. An example, just real quick, another agency in Southern California had a prisoner in the booking area still in the vehicle, and he managed to get through the barricade between the passenger area and the front driver compartment, found a backup gun that the officer had left in his bag, armed himself, and then things went downhill from there. So I apologize for going off track a little bit, but I'm just trying to emphasize that he has armed himself in a number of ways, or has the potential to arm himself, which the officers have to take into consideration as this progresses.
Well, I don't think you're going off track at all. I think you laid a great foundation, for your explanation about the kind of the misnomer of the phrase unarmed, the word unarmed, or phrase unarmed suspect. I think you did a great job with that. This is exactly right. And again, for those of us like myself, and I'm sure like you, who've been in those situations where you think, if this guy gets the upper hand, he is going to kill me. And
Yes.
we may have engaged where I'm the one with the sidearm, I'm the one with at the time the PR-24, I'm the one with the pepper spray. But this guy, I just want to take him to jail. This guy wants to kill me, and I have to win the fight. And it's almost impossible to overemphasize the the reality you're in that situation. So you actually bring up a couple of good points.